Hey, it's Mike Rogers Show. Mike Rogers here with you. Today we have from Boston, Muck and the Mires. They were once described as a mix of the 1964 Beatles and the Ramones by legendary Runaways producer whose name I won't mention. They become internationally known when their hit I'm Your Man was voted the first coolest song in the world in 2021. Won't you welcome with me to the Mike Rogers Show, Muck from Muck and the Mires.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thanks for making time for us. Can you give us a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm Muck, and I am the Muck from Muck and the Mires, and I play guitar and I sing in Muck and the Mires, and we've been around for 2 decades.
Wow.
And we've toured pretty much the whole world. We've been to Japan twice, in 2015, 2016, I believe, based in Boston, Massachusetts, in the United States. And for those with poor geography, that is about 4 hours north of New York City. And we're heading to Europe next Wednesday for a slew of shows in the UK and Spain.
Wow.
Promoting our garage rock and roll sound.
Wow, that's so cool. So you're going to the UK and you're going to Spain. What are those dates, and where are you going to play?
Well, we start in London, and that's a week from Friday, June 23rd. At the Night Owl. Then we head all the way to Edinburgh in Scotland at the Leith Depot. Then it's Newcastle at a place called the Globe, a nice early matinee show on a Sunday. And then we head to Liverpool, where it all began for us, at the Casimir Garden. And from there, we hop on a plane and go to Spain. And
wow.
We started the tour in Malaga because it was pretty much the only flight we could get from Liverpool to Spain. So we said, we'll start in Malaga. We're make it easy on ourselves. And then Madrid, and then we're doing a couple of festivals. They have some great rock and roll festivals.
Oh, yeah.
And then we end in Guillaume because basically some friends of ours from Canada named the Gruesomes have a show there. We wanted to play with them. So there you go. That's our schedule.
So, Mr. Muck, I wanted to ask you, your name is quite unusual. Did your parents name you Muck? And do you have an older brother named Mac, and then maybe a younger brother named Mick? Or
well, my full name was Schmuck, and I got teased a lot. I don't know how that's going to translate to Japanese, but maybe you can explain that. No, it's well known by this point. My name is Evan Shore, but everybody calls me Muck now because when you name your band Muck and the Mires, you're kind of asking for it, right?
Yeah. So how did you come up with that name, Muck and the Mires?
Well, that really goes back to how did I come up with the whole band? And the band started as a side project. I was in a band that I wasn't really enjoying doing, and I started doing some home demos, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do an album that kind of sounds like With the Beatles. And so I did a home demo. I played drums and guitar and bass, and I did all the harmonies. And I started sending that out to friends, and my friends were like, "This is awesome! You should be shopping this to labels." So I did, and I have a prop here I can show you. Let me see. Oh, here it is. And before you knew it, Canadian label put this record out. And
who put it out? Who put it out?
A Canadian label called Amp Records, who then licensed it to Sound Flat Records out of Germany. And I believe this is the first original Sound Flat artist. That I think we were the first ones to ever get an album on Sound Flat as an original artist. They'd have to correct me on that. But what's funny here is that there's no band because I was doing all the instruments. So if you look close, it's like this guy and this guy, the same guy, just kind of flipped. and on the back, I gave everybody, you can't see it, but I gave everybody fictitious names. And I just wanted an album that a band name that kind of sounded like early 60s. So there's a lot of the Mouse and the Traps and
yeah,
and the Hairs, and so Muck and the Mires, and then when the other when I finally, what happened was when the record came out in Canada, they said, "This is great, I'll come and play." And I was like, "Well, I don't have a band. It's not a band." So I had to put the band together, and everybody kind of stepped into the names that are listed on the back of the cover. So our drummer to this day goes as Jesse Best, and there's Pedro Meyer, and it goes on and on. But anyway, I am Muck now, and that's what happens when you don't. You got to think ahead when you do this stuff,
right? Right. That was my next question. So, so is Muck and the Mires a real band now?
We've been a real band for 20 years. So
wow,
yeah.
So, and you said you got your start in Liverpool?
No, I was kidding.
Okay.
Well, going back to the whole with the Beatles thing, obviously big Beatles fans, and Liverpool was where that all started. So if it wasn't for Liverpool, we probably wouldn't have a Muck and the Mires, and we probably wouldn't have a lot of the rock and roll that we have today, because it wouldn't have made it out of Liverpool. So
yeah, you'll be surprised to know that actually yesterday, and I didn't know that you were on Soundflat Records. I didn't know. I talked to Marco yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So yeah, he did. I brought lots of props. They also did this record. This was our third album, 1, 2, 3, 4 was on a Soundflat. So we've done stuff with him, and he's great. He's a madman.
Soundflat is a really cool label.
Yeah.
They only have cool artists.
Yeah.
So actually my radio show this morning was featuring 2 Soundflat artists. But I didn't know you guys were on it.
Yeah, well, we're out of prints. We have to get going and get some of this stuff re-released at some point. After speaking with you, I'm realizing how streaming is not really a big thing in Japan, but it is here. But I guess if we need to repress these and bring them on over next time.
Oh yeah. In Japan still to this day, you can go to any city and there's record stores, and I don't mean CD shops, I mean record stores.
Yeah, I've been, love it.
Yeah, and wow, that's really cool. So yeah, you got to press records before you come here, and CDs too, because they still sell in this country, because I think I mentioned to you, streaming is not popular in Japan at all. And that's why artists still sell CDs and vinyl in this country.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So your group achieved worldwide recognition after they were crowned a #1 U.S. garage rock band by Little Steven Van Zandt in his Battle of the Bands on MTV. Tell us about that. What year was that?
That was 2004. We entered the contest, and I don't know, we didn't really expect to win, but somehow we made it to the finals, and the finals were in New York City. So it was bands from all over the U.S. coming to compete in New York City. And we got, Boston is, I think I mentioned, 4 hours north of New York. Well, that night it was about 8 hours north of New York. It took us 8 hours to get to New York because of traffic, and we missed the sound check. They thought we weren't coming. They scrubbed us. Like MTV had already filmed all the interviews with the bands prior to us playing.
Oh no.
So all of a sudden we show up, we do our set, and MTV had already packed the cameras up. They now had to unpack all their cameras and interview us because we were the winners. So if you ever see the video of us, it's out there somewhere. We're all sweaty and disgusting because we just played, and all the other bands look great. But the winner of the contest got to play his festival, and he did one time. He did a festival, and it was like the Woodstock of garage rock and punk. It was basically, the headliners were the Stooges and the New York Dolls and Iggy, I would say Iggy, Bo Diddley.
Wow.
And then every garage rock band of the era, from the Fleshtones to the guy from the Hoodoo Gurus was there. It was just insane. And we got to hang with all of our heroes that day, and obviously play a nice 20-minute set too on top of that.
So is, little Steven Van Zandt, and I'm not really familiar because I haven't lived in the United States in like 40 years. So
Yeah.
he is a member of Bruce Springsteen's band. No?
Yes. Guitarist.
So how does he do this punk and garage stuff?
It's amazing. Because you wouldn't know it. I mean, Springsteen definitely has, good rock and roll roots, but Steven Van Zandt has just always been a huge fan and supporter of 60s garage rock style bands. And he's got a Sirius XM satellite radio show here called Underground Garage. And he's just, honest to God, loves the stuff and does everything he can to promote it. So we get played, quite a bit on that show. And we've had a great relationship with that whole, inner circle there. And,
so he's really nice to you?
Very nice. Very nice. Had the opportunity to go out for dinner with him and some friends once, birthday party, sit right with him, hear all the stories. He had this great story about how I won't get too deep into this, but because it's a Czar interview, not his interview, but yeah, he had a great story about how he was at Shea Stadium to see the Beatles, and everybody said, you couldn't hear the Beatles at Shea Stadium. And he said, well, I don't know. He goes, I guess their amps are pointed right at my seat because I heard them fine.
Wow. That's really, really cool. So you guys have been around for 20 some years.
Yeah.
And you have performed coast to coast in the United States. You performed in the UK, EU, South America, Canada, Japan. Where is your favorite audience?
Japan is way up there. I'll tell you, we had such a good time. We came in, we came in 2015, and then we said, we got to come back in 2016. And then it was like, you can't come every year, but we just love it there. Just love it. Japan is great. And Spain is awesome. I mean, anywhere we can play and people know us and come out, we're thrilled to play. So.
Wow. That's so cool. So this year have you been anywhere else this year besides you're going to go to UK and you're going to go to Spain? Have you gone anywhere else this year?
Well, the US is rather big, so I mean,
yeah,
we've been outside of Boston for sure. We've been to the West Coast. We did Seattle and California. We did San Francisco, Portland, Oregon, and we're heading down the East Coast when we get back from Europe to Washington D.C. and Philadelphia. But no, we haven't left the country, although in September, this hasn't been announced yet, so I guess we're announcing it now. For the first time, we're heading to Mexico City, so doing a bunch of shows there with the band I mentioned earlier, the Gruesomes. So
I hear Mexico is really, really big for garage rock and that sort of thing. I think it's December. I think December they have a Beatles festival there.
That's right.
It's one of the biggest Beatles festivals in the world.
Right.
And they're going to screen my movie there. Tell us, Muck, how did you get started playing music? How old were you? Did you play the piano or what did you do when you were a kid?
No, I'm still a horrible piano player. I have to cheat and record the right hand and then the left. But no, I started playing guitar when I was early teens, like 14 years old. I just wanted to be in a band. I was in a bad cover band in high school, and
cover band. Was that the name of the band, or is that just a clever name?
that would have been a good name for the band. It was even worse. We were called Undecided because no one could agree on a name, and we also couldn't agree on music, which is why we broke up. But after that, I formed a bunch of bands, and I ended up joining the punk rock band The Queers. I became their bass player.
I know that band, of course.
Yeah. So I played with them for a year, and my claim to fame with them is that I was the bass player on the record that they did with Jimmy Miller, who produced the Stones, and that would be a whole other interview to get into what that session was like. But I quit the Queers and started a band called the Voodoo Dolls, and
I know that band too.
Oh, great! Well, we were pretty big in Boston and New York, and we did the whole East Coast up and back for years, and from there. band called the Nines, which eventually became Muck and the Mires. We just kind of rebranded and changed the sound.
Wow. So I know these bands because in Japan, I think I told you that there's very few FM radio stations here, right? Didn't I tell you that? So I'm the only one that I know of that plays independent bands.
Wow, I don't know if you've heard that, but we're getting some good thunderstorms here in Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I should mention the Voodoo Dolls. You know,
I definitely played them.
The Ramones were fans of the Voodoo Dolls, and we ended up opening for the Ramones 6 times. So, and it was funny is, you know, you had sent me your interview with Susie Quattro, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But and I encourage everybody who's watching this to watch the Susie Quattro interview because it was awesome. But Susie Quattro was mentioning how I think it was her visa or something. She, instead of putting down a musician, she put down entertainer. And what was really funny about that is, you know, from knowing the Ramones back then, Johnny Ramone on his U.S. tax returns, when they came, you have to put your occupation. He didn't put musician; he put entertainer. And it was a very different answer than the one Susie gave. I think it was really because I don't think he considered himself much of a musician. So. Even though he's great in his own way, but.
So yeah, probably Sid Vicious would have written something like Entertainer too, I would imagine. So you guys have played together with so many legendary famous bands, the Sonics, the New York Dolls, the Kinks, Flaming Groovies, Stooges, even Pete Best. And how about, do you have any really good memory of any particular show or any particular person?
Oh, so many, but you know, it's funny because we were talking about Shea Stadium and the Beatles and being able to hear it. Our third show, or maybe our fourth show, whatever it was, one of the first shows, we opened for Mike Smith, the lead singer of the Dave Clark Five. And I mean, the Dave Clark Five was just my hero. So I heard Mike Smith was coming to town, and we were an unknown band at the time. I said, we got to open for it. And I pestered the guy. We got to open for Mike Smith. So there's Mike Smith. He does his sound check, and then we go up and do our sound check because we're opening. And we show up with Vox amplifiers, you know, all the 60s kind of gear. And he walks onto the stage and walks up to this Vox amplifier, which he hadn't seen a Vox amplifier in years. And he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "We played Shea Stadium with this amp, but nothing else. It was just the amp, no microphones or anything." But
wow.
Definitely meeting Mike Smith was a huge treat, and you know, getting to be friends with a lot of our heroes, getting to know Cyril Jordan of the Flaming Groovies, and just really any band that we really admired growing up, we have pretty much gotten to, you know, to play with a few exceptions, obviously, and very grateful to have been able to do it with Muck and the Mires.
Well, that's really fantastic. So you guys, do you expect to be playing in this band in 20 years from now?
If we're all alive, yeah. With 20 years, I mean, I gotta say that, you know, it's cliche, but the first 20 went by pretty quick. It's been a blast.
Of course, you know, Shonen Knife, they're celebrating their 40th year this year.
Wow.
I know. I was just like, wow, you girls, are you gonna do 80 years?
Hey, if they can, why not? You know, there's a lot of artists out there that are still doing it and are still good at it. So
yeah, it's really great. So you guys, you formed in 2001, and right, and then you had a best of CD collection.
Well, that goes back to the fake record, because it was a fake record. It says All Mucked Up, but if you look really close, it says All Mucked Up, the best of Muck and the Mires. So it was because it was a, you know, fictitious band. Hey, I found this record by this band I never heard of from the 60s called Muck and the Mires.
Oh, I see.
So our early press kits said we were the first band to have a greatest hits before we ever played a note together.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, it's all right.
Wow. So, okay. So, Muck-san, thank you so much for this interview. I want to repeat this. The Muck and the Mires European Tour 2023, Friday, June 23rd at London at the Night Owl, Saturday, June 24th in Edinburgh. I don't know how to say that, Edinburgh or whatever.
Yeah.
Leith Depot. Sunday, June 25th at Newcastle, the Globe. Monday, June 26th at Liverpool at Casimir Garden. Casimir, is that like Casinats Cats Orchestra? I don't know.
I don't know. I had to redo the post-it 3 times because I kept spelling it wrong, though.
And then they hop over to Spain, Wednesday, June 28th at Malaga Theatro Club. Thursday, June 29th in Madrid at the Funhouse. Friday, June 30th at San Vicente del Alcantara at the Sube Rock Festival. And then Saturday, July 1st, Vega de Espinarita with Espina Festival. Tell us about Sube Rock Festival. What is that?
It's very similar to Espina Festival in that it's a big outdoor festival. And it's in, a small town that attracts people from miles and miles around. And I wish I could remember who's playing with us, but I don't. But
well, we can put it up on the YouTube.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot in Spain. Like some little town, they run a festival, and like the town has like population 6,000 people, but for the 3 or 4 days that the festival runs, the population's 100,000 people.
Well, full disclosure here, we had heard of it at Espina Festival, the Saturday show, and just wrote and said, hey, can we get on that? And we did. And simultaneously, we had been working on a show in London, just, the one-off show in London. And then we never looked at the calendar and realized that they were opposite weekends. So we just filled in the whole thing and made one nice tour around these 2 little anchor shows. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Good show.
That's really amazing. So, Muck, you write to the promoters or to these people who run these festivals and ask them, can we play? Can we get on the bill? You do that yourself?
Sometimes. We do have a booking agent. We work with Micro Circa in Spain and Otis Tours, who are based out of Italy and Scandinavia. But whenever we see an opportunity, if we see a good show, we pick up the phone or we write a letter because you're always hustling to get work, and you got to ask. It never hurts to ask. So,
but what you do and what you're doing is, I think, quite unusual for most bands, isn't it?
Well, the garage rock world is definitely not the top rung on the music ladder. You don't have agents out there, filling stadiums with garage rock. So you gotta go into the underground music scene and you gotta just open that door and walk into that basement and get the work.
That's really cool, and I think you're totally right, because I do the same thing.
Yeah,
I just ask people. It doesn't cost anything to ask, and I'm so surprised when they say, "Oh yeah, okay, that's fine."
You don't want to give out all your trade secrets, but bands come up to us all the time. How'd you get that show? And it's like, we asked for it.
That's really cool. So, okay, do you have Muck, do you have any last messages for your Japanese fans or your UK fans or your Spain fans?
Well, we want to thank everybody who's come out to see us for the last 20 years. It really it's you guys have made the experience what it is for us, and we want to be everywhere all the time. So if you need a band, call us up. We'll be showing up on your doorstep. We can't wait.
There is a band that I don't know. Have you ever heard of a band called The Roots?
Sure.
Okay, they're in Fukuoka, which is kind of far from here. That's the southern island of Japan.
Oh, wow.
And the lead singer is a guy named Chris. He's a really good friend of mine. You should talk to him, because those guys in Japan, they'll play at a show and there'll be 50 or 80 people there, but they go to Europe and in Portugal and Spain, They headline festivals.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
And I'm just so blown away. How do you guys do that? And they're just, I don't know. We're really big in, Portugal and Spain.
Wow.
What?
Well, it is weird. I'd be remiss without mentioning our good friends, the Fadeaways, and they.
Oh yeah.
They I think they're a SoundCloud artist too.
Yes, they are.
They brought us over, and it's the same thing. They go to Europe too, and they play some amazing shows overseas, and it's great to see everybody out there doing it.
So we must have a lot of mutual friends, because Toyozo is a really good friend of mine.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I like to make videos for indies bands. So just want to, make a recording or something of this moment in time history, because it won't be coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, it might continue, but this moment, we'll never have it again. So that's what I really want to do. So if you guys come to Japan, then I'll make your video for you for free.
Oh,
all the videos are free. Never charge anyone a cent.
Oh, that's great. Well, we'll pay for the catering anyway.
Okay. Well, and I don't drink, so the catering should be cheap.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of which, we just released a new video today. So if you go to, just go to our Facebook page, muckthemires.com/Facebook. We have a new video out today called Cool Imposter.
Cool and Prosper.
Cool Imposter.
Cool Imposter.
Yeah, those phony cool people.
Yeah, there's lots of them. So your web page is Muck and A-N-D?
Yeah.
Okay, Muck A-N-D the THE Mires, M-I-R-E-S. So your new video's out today.
Yes.
So wow. Okay, we'll link to that.
All right.
So anyways, thank you so much, Muck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. I'll see you soon.